Great American Beer Festival, Denver, Colorado, 2016, with Tom from Indeed Brewing Company. How you digging the festival so far, even though it just began?
You know, I went through my morning preparations this morning.
Which consists of drinking how much?
Well, actually, I took it easy last night. I've learned my lesson after a few of these, and it was get enough sleep, wake up, work out, hydrate, take a jacuzzi, take a shower, and then take a nap. And then go eat a good lunch, a nice healthy lunch, and now I'm ready for the fest. So I'm excited for it.
Well, there really is preparation.
It was a Zen thing. I was literally had little bowls I'm rubbing and everything. So.
Well, my preparation consisted of going over to a friend's house last night and drinking a couple of bottles of wine, and then having a Lift Bridge Farm Girl on the airplane on the way here. And so we have different thought about how you prep for something like this. So what's new at Indeed? What's going on there?
Well, Indeed is suddenly 4 years old, and we're just kind of plugging along. Definitely, our sour beers, our Wood and Soul program is becoming a bigger and bigger part of what we're doing. We're releasing our first bottle release of that. We had the beer here at the festival today, which is exciting. We brought in a couple fooders, big wooden tanks, 60-barrel fooders recently, so we're really upping our sour wild beer production, which we're excited about. Rum King is about to come out. It's in 4-pack cans this year, which we're excited about as well. I think it's a great package, 12-ounce 4-pack for Imperial Stout like that. Got one to drink, got one to share, got one to sell, got one to send to a friend. So those are kind of some of the exciting things. I think otherwise, just internally in our company and our brewery, we got people who are really caring and taking ownership of the brewery, and that's the coolest thing. As I walk by our conference room, and I'm not in there all the time anymore directing. We have all these great, smart people that are working for us that are coming up with great ideas. So when you see something coming out of Indeed you think is pretty cool, it's probably a product of these awesome people we have working for us that are just really taking ownership and really care about beer and the industry in our company, in our brewery. So
that's nice. So it's not just a top-down kind of thing.
No, not at all. In fact, I think we're trying to do the opposite. But that's one of the fortunate things in the brewing industry. If you have a good brewery, treats its employees well, you don't really have a hard time finding good people. And sometimes it's that typical story of people who got fed up with their corporate job, and they show up and it's a real breath of fresh air for them to work for a brewery. But I love it because, my partner Nate and I have sunk our lives into this brewery. The first couple of years, I remember seeing you and you remember seeing me, and I was working 120 hours a week and just take a little more time to kind of take a deep breath, but then also think about what is the future for Indeed, because we have gotten a foothold in the industry, which we're really excited about. You go around Minneapolis and you see our beer a lot of places, but we always need to continue to grow and evolve and change and do new things. So that's what we're trying to do.
So I would say for you guys, talking about that 4 years, you really came in, you make great beer, but you also got really lucky with the timing when you came in. You came in at exactly the right moment, I think.
Absolutely. And it was luck. I definitely agree with that to a point. But it was also part of our plan. We looked around the Twin Cities market and we saw an awesome market for craft beer. And there weren't a lot of breweries. And the breweries that were there, most of them weren't packaging, and most of them didn't have the ability to grow a little bit. And so we said, well, what if we do these things? And what really worked out for us well was the timing of the taproom law passage and the timing of us opening up with kind of the first real legit taproom with a bar and everything else. And so that's always been a real drive for our brewery, marketing-wise and relationship-wise with our customers. So yes, a little bit of luck, a lot of planning, a lot of hard work, and making good beer and making that, really not something that's we're going to try to make great beer, but make sure that we put the things in place that we need to do to make good beer. And we wouldn't call it great beer, we'll call it good beer, because I think if you can say man, that's a good beer, that's a great compliment in beer, and if it's great beer, that's what's decided at festivals like this, I guess. It is the Great American Beer Festival, so.
So I just speaking of expanding, I got to ask, I've been in your brewery. Where are you expanding? Last time I was in there, you'd pretty much filled everything up.
Yeah. When was the last time you were in there?
It's been at least a year ago.
So we have a cellar we expanded into where we have a lot of height, where we can bring in fermentation tanks that are 210 barrels. So we can do about 35,000 barrels of beer in our brewery, depending on the mix of ale and lager. But yeah, we are definitely reaching a crossroads and watching what's going on in the industry and the market. It's a big decisions coming up for us what we're going to do. I really, really, really want to keep everything in one brewery. I don't want a separate location. And we're not trying to run out to multiple states. I mean, we distribute all of our beer in Minnesota and North Dakota, and not a lot in North Dakota. It's not a big craft beer state yet. It is going to be one, though. And we're not really in Wisconsin. We're in Hudson and Superior. So 80% of our beer is right in the Twin Cities. So we are really fortunate and happy and love the fact that all that beer is distributed right there in the Twin Cities, because it means it's fresh, it's ready to go. And we want to maintain that wherever we go. So we're trying to be cautious and slow now. We grew quickly in the first 3 years. We saw an opportunity to grab a foothold in the marketplace, and now we're taking that success and using it to really kind of, re-tuck point our foundation and make sure we have what we need to go on forward. So, yeah.
And so getting to Rum King in cans. I just had a can the other day, actually, and it's really good. But it was an interesting thought to me with it in cans. So a few years ago, I wrote a piece for somebody else's blog in which I was sort of saying, it would be great to get to a point where rather than having to label this craft beer or whatever, we could just call it beer. And one of the examples I gave was, wouldn't it be great to see, like in a grocery store end cap display of canned lambic? And you're starting to see that kind of thing happen now with like Rum King barrel-aged Imperial Stout in a 12-ounce can, whereas most people would think of that in a big, 750 milliliter bottle. So what prompted you guys to put that in a can?
For us, we felt like it was the best decision for our customers. Our customers weren't calling us and saying, put Rum King in cans. But what was happening is we were packaging in these 750 milliliter bottles, and we had a lot of packaging costs wrapped up in those. Each one of those bottles was about $2, and you had the crown, and you had the wax, and then you had the increased labor of bottling beer in a brewery that doesn't bottle. We're a canning brewery. And so all that added up to a lot of additional costs in the beer that got passed on to the consumer. So what we saw as an opportunity to put the beer into a package that was a lot less expensive to produce and lower the cost per ounce for the consumer, but at the same time increase the efficiency and the disruption in our brewery. 2 years ago, it wasn't a big deal for us to call our friends in and get Rum King packaged in bottles. But now we're running 2 shifts a day in the packaging line. We're a busy, busy brewery. And to shut down and bottle 3 bottles a minute versus 40 cans a minute is a lot. I can't do it anymore. We just can't fit it in production without buying a new bottling line. And so we decided to basically sell all that bottling equipment and just go to hand bottling on the wooden sole stuff and put the Rum King in the cans. And, I just think that vessel, the 12-ounce can, not everybody lives alone like I do, but when I get home at night, I open my fridge and there's all these bombers in there. And I love those beers and I want to drink them, but it's 11 o'clock at night and I want one beer. I just want a little nightcap, and so Rum King in 12-ounce cans allows that to happen. It's perfectly cellarable. Our can manufacturer tested the beer in the cans. You can go at least 2 years with it. So I think it's a great thing for our customers, and we've gotten a lot of really good feedback already. And we were nervous. Anytime you do something a little bit different, a little bit bold, you're like, are people going to be really upset about it? But it's a good price point. I mean, it's $20 a 4-pack at most places. It's $5 a can. You think about if you were buy a Rum King at the Happy Gnome or any other bar, it's going to be a lot more than that. So I think it's a home run for us. I think it's a home run for our customers, and I hope people enjoy it. Yeah.
And you know what makes me really happy about it? No wax top. No wax top.
We never got any letters, but I wonder how people slice their fingers open. I mean, I can't believe we didn't get sued, because I've seen people with a knife, and they've already had one bottle, and they're trying to get that wax off, and I'm like, oh my God, I've cut myself doing it.
I hate the wax tops.
I hate the wax too, and it doesn't do anything really. It's just, yeah.
Well, Tom, thanks for giving us a couple of minutes of your time. Enjoy the rest of the fest. I would cheers you, except you don't have a glass.
I haven't got the glass.
Fake cheers.
As always.